guys, welcome back to another beer review. Today we are in Del Rio, Texas. We're in this little, I guess a national recreation area. And in case you're not sure where Del Rio is, it's if you find San Antonio on the map and go straight west, right where Texas runs into Mexico. That's Del Rio. And anyways, I'm going to try to do this review without getting bothered by other people. But today we're going to go with Noche Dulce Moonlight Vanilla Porter out of Borderlands Brewing Company from Tucson, Arizona. And it is a porter with Mexican vanilla. It's 7.3% ABV. And yeah, the little blurb on the back is the moon is out, the air is crisp, and the snow and desert suddenly feels a whole lot more inviting. Noche Dulce balances notes of coffee and chocolate with just a touch of sweetness from real Mexican vanilla. They have like these little silver aluminum lines that the light catches. You're like, I can't read it. But it's 15.5 IBU and 51 SRM. Top of my head, I'm not sure what SRM is. But whatever. Let's crack it open. Ooh. You'd think I'd learn how to pour one of these things. I don't know if you can hear it. You probably can't, but there's almost a fizziness, like you just poured a can of Coke to it. And I mean, the fizziness kind of dies like you poured a can of Coke. But I mean, it even looks like a can of Coke. If this tastes like Coke, or worse yet, Pepsi, would have an issue. But I don't know. Let's get into the review. Get into the smell. Sometimes I'm not sure what the exact, when a stout transitions into a porter. Sometimes I'm not totally sure when that takes place, because this very much smells like a can poured stout. You do get some of that vanilla, some of that kind of creamy coffeeness to it. It's not. Sometimes you can get that extra deep roast coffee. This doesn't have that. This is more of a light roast. You really pick up the sweetness, and it doesn't have that artificial sweetness. It doesn't have that sweetness you might pull out of like a Belgian strong ale, where it's almost like you're getting that sweetness because of the alcohol content. It doesn't smell like that at all. It's really the vanilla. And I'm assuming that they say that they use real Mexican vanilla. So I'm going to assume they're not really using any of that fake, like coffee shop crap that you get with like the pumps. You can always kind of, once you taste that, you just get that extra like sweet. That's like too sweet. Not picking that up at all. It really smells like the real thing. Not quite Coke, almost vanilla Coke. But no, it really smells more like a vanilla stout. Maybe a dab of like a salted caramel, but light on that. Yeah, I think this smells more like a Guinness. Add some vanilla to it, but I think it smells pretty darn good. I'm gonna recommend on that. Let's get into the taste. Heavier on the malt than I expected. I was not picking that up at all in the nose. but definitely get that in the taste. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It doesn't, yeah, after like the first half of the tongue, it kind of fades out. But there's almost like a marshmallowy thing kind of thing to it. It's almost like slightly burnt toast with like a marshmallow thing to it. It's like if you were making s'mores, but with Texas toast, and you got that kind of thing with that melted marshmallow aspect to it. You do pick up some of the vanilla, but there's that marshmallowy kind of thing to it. Definitely, I mean, when I was smelling it, it smelled more like a stout. You definitely get that more porter kind of. I don't know, for some reason, porters almost feel a little rougher around the edges. I think it's because it's probably the slightly higher alcohol content, a little more malty, and so that's really what I'm getting with this. Naturally, because it's labeled as a porter. A bit of unsweetened chocolate in there. I'm picking that up more than any kind of coffee thing. There's kind of like a slight coffee grind taste to it. Not really the full robust bean, but you got like a bit of that. Almost like you almost chew the coffee grind taste to it. But it's not bad. It feels like if you're trying to segue from stouts to porters, this is kind of a nice medium in the middle. Part of me wishes it would push it more to one or the other. I think a Mexican vanilla stout would be freaking phenomenal, especially if you were into like nitrogen. Pump that in, that would be like mind blowing. So because that Mexican vanilla just lends to that nitrogen aspect to it. So I feel like I wish they would have gone a little more towards the stout, pump some nitrogen in it, and then it just blow the back of your head off. But I mean, it's totally fine how it is. But I mean, it's enjoyable, so I'm going to recommend it on taste. It's nicely done. It's not too crazy. Sometimes your porters can get a little nuts, but yeah, I would recommend it on taste. Value for prices. I mean, I bought a 4-pack of this because I couldn't find it in a single, and the 4-pack was like $12. So I don't know. It feels like a hair higher than normal. But then also, at least for me, normally when I'm looking for locally craft beers, you're going to find your IPAs. You might find some pale ales, a crap ton of sours. You don't find as many porters. So I like that this is an option. And so there's that. It is a hair more expensive than some of the other options. So I'm going to give it a half on value for price. But, yeah. Still not sure what SRM. Okay, next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And, yeah, I mean, it's really the Mexican vanilla. The Mexican vanilla is what sells it. Take that out, and it's just a run-of-the-mill kind of, like every other porter or stout porter that you've had before. So that's what does it. And I like that. I wish more places use Mexican vanilla. I think Mexican vanilla is a heavily underutilized season or spice, or would, I guess, be a spice. Because it's a little more, I feel like it's a little more complex than just regular straight vanilla. And I don't know, I like that they used it. So that's really what sets it apart. So distinction, yes, I'm going to recommend a distinction. Okay, now drinkability. I think for 7.3%, it's very drinkable. The alcohol doesn't get in the way. You don't really notice it. There's that subtle, almost like chocolate maltiness to it. that unsweetened chocolate maltiness to it. But it's not super heavy, so even if you're not into like the crazy malty things, you'd be totally fine with this because the malt is just right. If they pushed, they could probably even push it a little more, and it'd get more of like that German malty dark beer kind of thing if they really wanted to go that route. But drinkability, I think it drinks very well. And last category is would I buy it again? And I mean, if I was in Tucson and I felt like a craft porter, yes I would. Normally I go for a stout over a porter. I think they're a little smoother, especially if I can get one that has the nitrogen in it. I love the nitrogen stouts, especially when it's done right. Sometimes the bottles with the nitrogen in the front, they get like spin around, like you can spin the bottle when you're 10 years old. That works not very well. I don't know why they don't put the widget in like you get from the UK and Irish and Scottish beers. I really wish they'd do that because that works the best. So I will almost always go for the stout over the porter, but if I was looking for the porter, absolutely I'd pick this up. So yeah, I would have no problem buying it again. So I recommend that. But that is the review of Borderlands Brewing Company's Noche Dulce Moonlight Vanilla Porter. What do you think? Have you had it before? Have you had many beers with legit Mexican vanilla in it, not like the artificial crap? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And so for myself and for Borderlands Noche Dulce, take it easy.